It's always interesting to me how the time we live in is called the information age. Yet, it seems as if maybe there's too much information available to us. Maybe this information has created a sort of arrogance in us. A sort of like, well, I don't need to know it. I have Google. I can go research it. Or now I have ChatGPT and it can research it for me. I know with all this information available to me, I suffer from a syndrome I call, I can do that. I'll watch a YouTube video and I'll watch someone do something and I'll go, I don't need to pay anyone to do that. I can do that. And while on minor tasks and things that are relatively simple, it's absolutely true. But when I hear someone tell me there's lots of ways to skin a cat, I reply with, well, the guy that's been skinning cats for 20 years, he knows the best way to skin a cat. And I would say this when it comes to information. The problem is we don't know what we don't know. So even when we read or we watch a video or we see on how to do something, we don't have the experience. We don't have the know-how. We don't know what we don't know. We might see the steps for how something's done, but what happens if something breaks halfway through, or something doesn't line up the way it's supposed to, or whatever other 1,000 things that might take a left turn in the project could take a left turn? You know, experience is that thing you get right after you needed it. And that experience is valuable. This is why if someone has 20 years of doing something, I tend to listen to them more carefully. They're qualified. Now, I know lots of people that will give me their opinion and pass it to me as knowledge. And I have to ask myself, what qualifies that person to have that knowledge? Is it what they read on the internet? Is it something that, there's sort of, they call the valley of stupidity, where as someone comes into a new task, they get to know a lot about it, and they start to feel like they're really an expert at it. And then they realize that, no, they're not. There's a period of time where they sort of trip over themselves and they make lots of mistakes. And that's this experience that's so necessary, that makes the difference between an opinion and a qualified opinion. Remember, you don't know what you don't know. I don't know what I don't know. And so when I'm talking to someone who's an expert in a field, and they'll say, well, here's what you need to understand, or here's what you need to learn, or they're imparting some information, I typically will ask them along the way as well, what happens if this breaks here, or if this happens here? Or have you had anything that has happened in your experience that didn't follow the guidelines you gave me? And if I come across that, what should I do? I want to hear what they say. I want to learn from their experience.
This principle applies to many areas. When I started my career, I was working alongside salespeople who were selling technology solutions to enterprises face-to-face. To me, they seemed to be just having fun, going around, spending company money on lunches with customer and other entertainment, and giving tasks to us. It was frustrating. I was oftentimes stressed because I was believing I was doing all the work. A few years later, they proposed me to join the team too. I was hesitant first, but I wanted the challenge, so I accepted it. What I discovered was really surprising and shocking, because what I saw was just the tip of the iceberg. And there were so much work, there were so many complex things that they were doing. The level of stress was just insane. And this experience taught me a really valuable lesson, and I often recall it now. Because am I really qualified to judge the effectiveness of my colleagues in other departments? Do I have all the information before getting upset because of the actions of my significant other? Should I dismiss a new idea or thought just because it's unprovable with science right now? I'm not saying we should blindly trust everyone or believe in every idea we hear. It's more about being open-minded and being aware of our own limitations. So stay humble and remember, you don't know what you don't know. As Matt described in our recent video, we've all been hypnotized in our childhood. And what we've just talked about is another example of this programming we have in our mind. Developing self-awareness helps me to detect and change this programming, and I really hope that what we share helps you too.
We don't know what we don't know. This is why you come to a channel like this. You hope that I'm going to share something from my experience, and I'm trying, but I can only share so much from my experience. You have to apply it and make it part of your experience. Again, experience is exactly what we get right after we needed it. I hope the experience that you have on this channel and what we share with you, you find useful. Because remember, we're all stuck in the matrix, and it's your job to find your way out. I hope what we share helps.